This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, fine. Now, today is a very important topic, guys. Don't know. Listen carefully. Okay, fine. Now, let's see. Docker volumes. Docker volumes we are going to discuss today. Now, as we discussed everything, if you, for example, let's say I run a container, let me show the problem first. Uh, Let me log in the first. Let me close this. Refresh this. If your multiple tabs are open, this is the error will come. Then you can make it a single tab, then you can try refresh that browser. Then that bad request error will go. That you can keep in mind. So now let's say this is your host. This is your host means what? This is your Linux server. This is your Linux server. This is your Linux server. Okay. The next. Now this is the container. This is the container. Okay. This is your container. This is your container. If the container will, for example, will container create some files. Your container create some files. Your container create some files. If the container will last, what happened? What happened? The what are the container are created the files like as any log files or any code or any property files or any like for example if you run a Jenkins as a one container, the Jenkins jobs you created, the jobs will be stored inside the container. If that container will go down, then what happened? Whatever we created the jobs, whatever we configured the in your Jenkins, whatever the plugins you are done, no, everything will ask it. Clear na? Now the same way if you run any container, the data will be like a store inside the container. If the container will be down or if you delete the container, what are the content are written in the this container, that data will be we lost. Now in real cases, some real time scenarios, I don't want to lose my data. I want to keep it somewhere. When I run the new container, like this data, whatever the data I will store to somewhere. From here to I will reload to again for new container. If run the new container, what are the previous container is written the data will be stored into the new container. Then we'll get the new container with the existing data. Whatever the data it is created, the data will be come to the new container. Then what happened? Our data won't be lost. For troubleshooting purpose and debugging purpose, we need log files. That log files your application are written. Now that container if you lost, the still you want to store the logs, somewhere you need to be copy your log files. Somewhere you need to be copy your files. Somewhere you need to copy the your all the data. Like as that what are the data is written, that we should know that. Like as which folder, which files are creating. That files we need to take a, this is kind of backup, let's say. You need to take a, this is backup. If you want to like a, this data should be persistent in your host. Let's say in your like as this data, whatever the data you want to be created inside the container, the data you want to persistent storage. Persistence means permanent storage, let's say. That we are gonna use to Docker volume. If you want to store into host mission RS, like as Docker daemon area, host mission or Docker daemon area, that we are calling as a Docker volumes. I'll show that how we are going to store in the Docker daemon as well as how we are going to store into our host mission. Both we can see. Okay. Now when we use the bind mount bind mount in your volumes, then it will be stored in the your host area. If you're not using a bind mount, it will be stored into your Docker area. Docker area, where lib Docker. What is the Docker area? Where lib Docker. This is your Docker area. Slash volume slash what are the data. Inside the data, what are the files are there that will be stored. Okay, the Docker volumes will be stored here. Okay, that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so first of all, before going to do that, let me see here Docker volumes. Now, if you can see here, this simply volumes are the like as preferred mechanism to persisting data generated and used by container, while bind mount are dependent on the directory structure and the OS on the host machine. Volumes are completely managed by Docker. Volumes have several advantages over bind mount. Okay. Now see, volumes are easier to backup or migrated than bind mount, and you can manage your volumes using Docker CLI commands, Docker API. Volumes can be volumes work on both Linux and Windows containers. Volumes can be more safely shared among the multiple containers. Volumes driver let you store to volumes on remote host or cloud providers or encrypted content in the volumes. And that means not only here, the containers you can store into the even in the cloud also. Means you can integrate with the any EBS volumes or anything like as in your AWS EC2, right? In EC2 we are using a EBS volume only. That also we can put the data and with the encrypted format your volumes. Okay, that is what it is. Now if you see here, if the container is the bind mode will be stored into the file system. Bind mode will be stored into the file system. And if you are using the Docker, like without bind mode, it will be stored into the Docker area. In the Docker area. Docker area means what? Where lib Docker, right? That is. Now TMPS mount we never be used in real time. We use either Docker area or as file system. Either file system when it will come when you use the bind mode. If you use the normal volumes, it will be stored into the Docker area. I'll show that what is the meaning of creating the bind mode, how we can create the Docker volumes. Now, if you use the Docker volumes, what are the benefits we can get? Like as if you want to easy to take a restore and then bind mode all of this, you can manage using the Docker CLI command. It will be very easy. That is what advantages it will be show the instead of bind mode. Okay, I'll show the both options how to create a volumes with this volume command and the bind mode also. Okay, now how we can declare these volumes using the while running Docker and container, Docker container, Docker run -v or else -hyphen volume, and then this is the source. This is the source means for example some path, let's say data, and then some let's say my data something, let's say, and then here this is the folder and inside the container my data, let's say c data, container data, something container data for just my data, let's say any folder we can do. Inside the folder what are the files will be stored. This is the inside the container, this is the outside of the container. This is the inside of the container, this is the outside of the container. This is the way we can declare the volumes. This is the outside of the container. Same port also same, right? We are using the -p. -p means like for example this is the host port, this is the container port, let's say. This is the host port, this is the container port, this is the host data, host volume, and this is the container data. Container, this is the host data, this is the container data. This is the way we can mention the -p. We can mention the n number of ways. We can mention the n number of p's. How many ports we are, like a number of ports we are not open. We can use the number of p's, and if you want to use the multiple volumes, you can use the number of p's also. Number of p's also. Is it clear, guys? Understand now? What is the use of Docker volumes? To persistent your container data. If container will be down or removed, Now we have our container data in persistent in your storage, in your system storage, or else in outside of the system storage, whatever you configured. Based on that, it will be store your data. Means we take our data backup, okay, using the Docker volumes. Means where the persistent data you want to be stored, because these Docker containers are ephemeral. Ephemeral means once the container will be lost, the data will be lost. That is means ephemeral. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Once the container will lost, my data also will be lost. Let's see that how we lost the data. Like for example, let's create that. Now let's start the container. Docker. Guys, understand the concept? Hello, guys. Sleeping. You're full rain, man. I'm feeling sleepy. Okay. Now we can connect this and then select this and then start the terminal and select the first. Come on. Okay, good. Now let's go. Okay. The next, let me see, if you want to see the list of volumes which you created, like as normally using the without bind mount volumes. Now we can see Docker volumes ls. We can use this Docker. Which is not a Docker command. Docker volumes, right? 1 second. Mhm. 1 second. 1 second. Yes. Where it is? Where is the Docker? Uh, where is the Docker volumes? We can see the volumes also. How we can see? 1 second. Docker, wait, Docker volumes command not working. Docker volume inspect. Volumes కాదు volume. Yes, it's not S. Volume. Huh. This is the Docker volume. Now this is the like as already inside your whatever it is existed, but whatever that custom one you are not yet created anything. Custom one we are not yet created. This is a system related stuff. Now if you create any folder anything that will be come here. Now let's create a Docker volume. Let's create a Docker volume with the using a volume command. You can create a Docker volume command. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm creating a my data. One folder is the my data, that is one folder. Now if you can see Docker volume ls again, now you can see there is a one folder which is created underneath for your here my Docker volume lscpt volumes, whatever it is there, that will be stored for us. This is the my data is the Docker volume. And where it will be stored? Now see project working directory we are storing here, and then here ec2 user, but there is no my data folder here. There is no my data folder here. Understand now? Current I created, but it is not storing under the my data folder here. Where it will store, guys? Where it will store? Tell me. If you create the Docker volumes command, where it will store? CD. Anyone? Just I told you. Where lib Docker. Just do this. Because we don't have permission to go there. Now do the root user where lib Docker. Now LSFL here. The next volumes. This is the Docker home actually. Let's say all the Docker data will be stored here. Now, if you can see, there is a like as my data will be there. Now cd my data. Now once you can see date inside the data folder, there is nothing. There is nothing as of now. You can see now this is an empty folder. That's where we are right now. Now this is the path where lib Docker volumes my data folder. Inside my data folder, but there is no any data. There is no any data. Is it clear now? How do you create the volume using the Docker volume command, and how to go that inside the Docker volume? That is the path. And let's see the problem first. Okay. Now let's say Docker PS. Let's see any containers are running. No. Docker PS-a. Let's see. We have the couple of. What I'm gonna do? Let's remove this Docker Docker RM. Let's remove this. Only few, right? I just copy paste it here. You can use number of ways. Okay, cool. Now I clean up that also. Nothing. There is nothing is there. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run the Docker run -it -name my Ubuntu, some Ubuntu container I'm running, and then Ubuntu I'm running. Now what happened? I'm gonna use the -rm also. What is the use of -rm, guys? What is -rm? What is the use of -rm? So be careful while using the prune command, okay? Because the prune command, what you do, if that image you require, let's say, and that images, even it will delete if you're not using, but you want to in the future. Even you can do one more thing also. You can delete the other session. I'll discuss basically. Let's wait for some time. It will delete it automatically when you stop this container. Automatically, it will clean up our container. Okay. That prune command, we have a session for that separate, and then we have a separate document for that. We'll discuss. That is a very important in real time. Okay, when you are working. Now let's run this. Now we are inside the container. Let's see. We are inside the container. Now let's create some data. Echo VI and all, it won't work here because there is no VI files. It won't come. Let's say file1.txt. If you create a VI command won't be available. Okay, that's just I'm using the echo. This is sample data, something I used, and then I redirect to sample.txt. Okay, let's cat sample.txt. If you see, this is the file which I created, and where I created in the root path only. Now, if you can see, sample file I created here. Now, even let's create one more file also. If you want. This is example data. Now this data I'm going to redirect to example file. Let's say example.txt, sub files, any container data, let's say. Now these two files are created inside your container. Clear now? Now these two files are created. What I'm going to do? I'm going to do Control PQ without stopping, and let's see Docker PS. Now the container is running. Now again, if I go inside the container, I can able to see that. I can able to see the container. Okay, in case now, how can I go inside the container? Let me go and check that. Docker exec -it container id let's say bash, let's say I am inside the container. I can see that if it is the containers are available or not, the data is available or not, I can see here. It is available because the container is not stopped. What I'm going to do, let me exit this and then see the Docker PS. Any container is running. Now let me stop this. Docker stop. Docker stop. I'm doing. Now if we do without control PQ, if we do control C, then gone. Okay, the container will be gone. Okay. Now I'm stopping this container. I'm stopping this container. Whatever is running the container. Now see the Docker PS. There is no container. And even if you stop, it should be in the stopped state, right? But there is no container also. There is no, because we use the -rm option. If you're not using -rm, it will be stored here. It will store here, and then if you want, you can restart that also if it is stopped container. But I used here. I used here what -rm. Now what happened? What are the container we created? What are the two files we created inside the container? The data nowhere we stored. If I want that data, what I can't get it again. I need to be implement again. I need to be do implement the from scratch. Yes or no, guys? Yes or no? Now, if you don't want to do that, you want to store that data persistently. Even the container got removed when you run the new container. Now, if for example, if I run the new container, for example, let's run the new container. Run the again one more container. Now see here, new container, there is no two files, that is example file, sample file, there is no files here. There is no sample example file. This is a new container, nothing. The data, existing data, that previous container data, we lost it. And when run the new container, the same data you want to get again inside this container, you won't get it. If you until unless if you persistently the container data you want to, you will, if persistently if you store the data, you can get it. If you not store the that previous data, you can't get it. Now that is the reason we are using the volumes. That is the reason we are using the volumes. Clear, right? Then let's see how we can get that data, how to attach to the new container, okay, how to share the volumes between the two containers, and how to use the same volumes for two containers, okay, and how to use the like as previous container data to new container. All the scenarios we're gonna, let's see the next examples. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear now? Till now? Now if you see exit the container, when you run the bash with the directly without exe, when I exit this, then container will be automatically stopped. Okay, when I run the bash directly, run it, when do the exit, it will exit, and then if it is the container nowhere running. Now even see the Docker stop also, Docker psfna. No, they no more at all. Okay, now the next, what we do, let's go for step by step. Now we created the Docker volumes here, like as let's say Docker volumes create name hyphen name. Now we are done this. Okay, we are done this. I think my data we created, right? Now we have the my data. Now let's see here, pwd, that is the my data volumes is there. Now let's say Docker volume ls. If you can see, my data volume is there, but there is no inside, nothing is empty. What I'm going to do, let's do something. I'm going to run this container with that, what are the volumes which I have created. This my data is what? My volume name. My data is the what? My volume name. I didn't say any path anywhere in this. Just I say the, just attach the my data. Just attach the, what is the volume name that I attached. Is it clear now, guys? Clear? Any question in this? Now this is the new folder. If there is no folder, it will create a new folder inside where my container. What is the container name? Let's give the container name also if it is. Or else by randomly it will give a one container. Let's say run the one new name. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, guys? Now hyphen v means volume, hyphen it or ta, anything is fine. Okay, either you can use the it or ta, anything is fine. Now hyphen rm, I remove and volume, and this is my volume name. What is the in the host mission volume name? And this is your see my data. See my data means is a container my data. It's inside the container where in the root path it will be create this there is no folder. This folder will create. That folder will bind with the this folder. Is it clear now? Any confusion here? If you understand this, you can understand anything in the volumes. Guys, all it's a very important concept. Without container, without volume, there is no use of Docker. There is no use of Docker. Okay, let's
That
run.
Hi Madhu.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So we have created my data as a volume, okay, and then
correct.
again creating a see my data.
No,
Uh,
we are not. We are creating this in the inside the container, not outside.
inside the okay, inside the
No,
my data.
just I told no. Here, let's see. This is your like a this is the host port. This is a container port, right? The same way, this is the host folder. Like a host means where live or Docker. This container path. In the container area, this data will be stored. And this is for what? Inside the container. Inside the container.
Inside the
Okay,
container.
the folder is does not exist. It will create a this folder inside the container.
Okay.
You know, if you see the previously, there is no C data container here. C data folder. Have you guys have seen here? There is no. Now, if you run now, it will create this folder for us. If it is there, it will use. If it is not there, it will create. Clear now?
Yes.
Any questions? Huh? Hello?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, let's run this, then we can see now. Now, if you can see here, you can see my data folder is created for us. Okay, and see inside the any data is there, c underscore my data. Now if you can see lsfltr, do you have any files? There is no files. And the previously any my data here, my data folder, do you have any files? It's a nothing. Even if we run the previously, no, inside the container, and we run here my data folder, nothing is we have. Where we run, see lsfltr, it's a empty. Is it clear now? Now let's go and do that now. I'm returning inside the C data container. I'm inside the C data folder. Let's create some files. Let's create a today is Monday. It's a boring day. Something. Let's say Monday is very lazy day. Okay, let's say monday.txt. Something, some any file, some container data. Okay, any files, let's say. I'll show the real examples next. Okay, I'll show the real examples next. Now, any files, what are the files? This is Docker session. Sample.txt. Let's something. Any files. Now see that files. There is a two files are created. Cat monday.txt and cat sample.txt. There is a two files which we created. Is it clear now? These two data, this data will be stored inside these files. Now the files are inside the my container data is available. Is it clear now, guys? Till now means inside my container I created a two files. Now what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna exit this now. I'm going to exit this. If I exit this, container will be lost here. Now see Docker PS. Now we are in our host mission. Now inside earlier we are in the container. Now we are in the see this is the container ID. This is our IP. Okay, and we are in the inside our. We no need to take away this path. Okay, just I want to go this path. That I reason I went that path. Okay. Now see there is no containers running and there is no stopped container also. Now let's see here lsfltr. If you can observe here inside project working directory, there is a my data. Inside the data there is a data folder. It will created for us when you create a volume. All the data will be stored under this here. If you see monday.txt, sample.txt. These two files are created where? Created where? Where this data is backup? Where this data is backup? Inside your Docker area, means your host machine. Host machine, what are the container are now, sir? Is it will be take a backup only that C data path only or entire the container data? Basically, it will just that folder. What are the data is written that folder only will be take backup. Remaining where if some other folder is written the data, that data we won't get backup. This is a very important point. Understand, right? Whatever the folder which we are mentioned in the -v option, if any data will be stored inside that folder, the data only will be get backup. Means that data only will be persisted, or else remaining we won't get like as backup. Okay, as any other folder, C data, right? Now let's say some test data, test folder. That folder, if something data will be written, the data will be lost. Means what are the folders you want to take backup? You can mention the n number of -v options, and you can take a backup. Is it clear now, guys? What I mean? Right now this is C data folder only will take backup as per our example. If you another folder, if you return any data, that data we won't get a backup. If you want to that folder also have backup, -v, like as my data is one folder, -d, like test folder also again backup. What are the folders you take backup? That folders you need to mention in the -v. N number of -v's we can use it. Okay, now like as for example, let's say for a small example, you run a Jenkins, okay? And the Jenkins you want to take backup, what you do? Jenkins home will take backup. Remaining things we don't need to take care about. The Jenkins home, if you take all the jobs, plugins, whatever you have done, everything will be stored inside that. That data only I want to backup. Remaining I don't care about it. Understand, right? What I mean? Like as any other folders are written, because of if run the new container, I want to backup my previous Jenkins data. I want to reload this data to the new Jenkins. That was we'll see the next example, real example. So as of now, just understand the concept wise today. Okay, is it clear, guys? Now what I'm gonna do? Let's see. I don't have any container. I don't have any container. I don't have any stopped container. What I'm gonna do? I'm going to use the this is the new like I won't give the same name because you guys will be confused. Even same name also will work. A same name also will work, but to make more clear, what I'm gonna do? Whatever I have already my volume here, whatever I have volume here, and that volume again I mount to the this new container. This new container, let's say my Ubuntu 1. Let's say my Ubuntu 1. This is a new container. Again, new container, fresh container. Okay, but I'm attaching my data. I'm attaching my data. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear? Clear or not? Now, what happened this time? Whatever the data already existed, the same data will be copied into the again new container. We no need to create again these two files again because we are using the my volumes are attached here. Whatever the previous container, keep it that you, and that same data will be shared with you. Okay, same our grandfathers are whatever ending, that will be hand over to my father. Whatever my father will like as ending, that will be hand over to me, then I'll enjoy. Okay, then then whatever you earn, then you need to give the your son. That is what we go for assembly, right? Here also the volumes also same kind of concept. Let's say like just example I'm giving, that not concept same, just example. Okay, means get the sharing the data between the multiple containers. If the container will last, the data will be persisted. Even that persistent data we can use that. The same our relation how look this, even this container data also will be same. Now let's run it. Now let's see here, go to the C1 my data. This is a new folder, new container. I never create these two files inside the new container. I got back it to these two files inside this folder. How I got it? Now let's say I create one more file here. Echo, let's say new data, let's say some data new.txt. One more new file I created. One more new file I created here. Now this file will be created. This file we got it. Now other than this, now what happened here? This file I created. Now this file will be also backed up to your persistent. Yes or no? Because we are inside that file. Means we are inside the this folder. Now what are the file inside the this folder? All files will be backed up to my data folder. Yes or no? Now what I'm going to do? I won't do the exist here. I press the control PQ. I am like as detached my container mode. Now see that my path here. I am in the new file also came here. If you guys observe, what I'm going to do? I'm going to create one more file here. Test.txt, some file outside container, guys. Outside container I'm creating. Outside container I'm creating this file now. Okay, let's see. Hi mama, good morning. Let's see. Now this is, now let's see. Now let's see Docker PS. Now I created one file. That file is what? It's a test.txt file. Now let's go inside the container. Docker exec -it and then container ID and then bash. Let's go inside this. Now go this inside C1 data folder. This is container folder. We are inside the container now, and you can see here. Now our test file also came here. Means what you understand here? Whatever the container is written the data, that will be stored inside the my data folder. Whatever the my data folder having the data, that for data will be come into the this folder also. Means the data is sharing bi-directional. I mean, if you put some data here, that will come to here. If you put data here, that will go to there. Understand? Na? Clear? Clear? Clear or not? All. It's a very important because this is the feature we are using in many places, because some property file is there. Some property file you want to override, then what you do? You don't need to, like, as you know, edit your custom container. The container you can keep it. You can create our custom file, property file outside, that we can volume the same path of your container. Then the data will be that file, new file will be override the existing file. Then we don't need to go inside the, like, as you know, any for example prometheus.ml file, that Prometheus, like, let's say any file, and then nginx.conf file. Okay, this is what we use in real time. All these files you want to custom files you want, then what you do, you can use the volumes only, instead of going inside the container modifying here again taking backup. Instead of that, create one simple file. That file we can override into existing file. Okay, that's very important concept, should be remembered. Is it clear, guys? Is it clear, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to be clean up this. Now from exit it won't be stopped, because of we are using the docker exe command. Now see docker ps, the container still be there. And then you guys will be maybe small confusion here. When you use the docker exe exit command, if I press, it won't be exit your container. But when I run the docker run -it bin, like as container name and then bash, right? That time press exit, then it will be close the terminal, because that terminal session for the live container. That's the reason it will be exit from the container. Okay. And then if you use the docker exe, that is the r for, like, as you know, new terminal. Let's say on running process we can take a new terminal. If you that terminal will be exit, same kind of. Okay. It docker exe, if you try to exit, it won't give, it won't last your container. But when you run docker run command and then exit command, if you press, that container will be stopped. Okay, listen care, that remember, understand, right, what I'm speaking. Now again I'm telling, docker run, if you run this container, if you press -it and the container id, like as name -name my ubuntu 2, my ubuntu 2. Now if I run this container, if I run this container, if you press exit, the container will be last. The container will be last here. Sorry. The container will be last here. The container will be last here. Okay, is it clear now? Again, from the exit I came here, from this terminal to this path to I came to my user. Instead of root user, I logged out and then I came to my exit user. Now here is the my new container, my Ubuntu container I am now. Okay, understand now what I mean? Okay, now let's do one thing. Again, one more option we are going to test this. As of now, where the data will be stored, guys, basically cd where lib docker in the docker area. As per our discussion here, see the official documentation, the data will be stored in the docker area here. The data whatever we stored using the volume, that will be stored in the docker area. Then how do you declare the bind mount, sir? What is the bind mount means? How to mention the bind mount? How to use the bind mount? Okay, that we are going to see now. Okay, let's do that. Bind mount. Okay, now let's see. Okay, now this is the docker area which we are mentioned, and then volumes, and then my data, and then see here the data will be there inside the my data. In this data folder will create for us. You can see all this data available. Let me go to your user. Your user means your, again, easy to user. Now I log out from the root user. I am go for my default user now. Now we can see here, do we have any folder here? Do we have any folder? Any folder, like, as I'm going to create a Madhu data, let's say Madhu data folder. There is no Madhu data folder. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a one new container. Forget about the my data now. That data will be stored inside the where, inside the where, inside the where lib docker, right? Somewhere. Okay, that container name is not coming. Okay, let's run this new container. Docker run -it name, and then let's say my Ubuntu 2, let's something like that, and then Ubuntu container, and I'm going to create a volumes. Let's create a volumes -v. Let's say Madhu data, Madhu data. Okay, Madhu data. Now what I'm going to do here, you can mention the present working directory. Okay, now present working directory, who mentioned here, pwd, and then present working directory. What is the present working directory? This current path, I mean. Okay, wherever we are starting, that is. And even you can put the my data, like as my data, and then slash. Okay, let's say, and then put the, this is container data, let's say c data, c Madhu data, let's say. Just new folders I'm going to create. Now what is the bind mount? I'm going to try to explain for you guys. Okay, let's run this. Now see, even this folder is also not there, it will create for us. Even this folder is not there in your host mission, but still it will create for us. And the next, what I'm going to do, let's create a one sample data, like echo test data test.txt and cat test.txt. The test.txt file I created. Okay, I created. Now let exit from this container. I press the like as what I do exit. Now if I do this, then gone, container will be gone. Now you can see that docker ps, the container will be gone here. Docker ps -a, do this -a. Now here see, that container will be, because I'm not using -rm, that's when it will be shown the exit container, exit state. If I use -rm, that will be cleaned up. Okay, okay. Now see here, ls-ltr. Now see here, there is a what is the folder we created? Where is it? One second. Where is the my data? Madhu data, pwd Madhu data. Do we have a folder here? Okay, let's do one thing. Docker volume ls. Let's check for this. That's not created, means there is no folder, it's not creating. Let's do one thing. Let's create a folder first. Let's create a folder first. One folder I'm creating, mkdir. Let's create one folder. Now see, this folder is created. Okay, Madhu data I created. Let's see, open the folder. Okay, that if it is a folder is there outside data, outside folder should be there. You should be create Madhu data. I thought it was create. No, it's not creating. Now see here, there is no any data in the Madhu data. Okay, now what I did means I'm gonna do right now. You can take this present working directory. Now this path pwd. Okay, this is the path it we have. Now let's run the Ubuntu 3 container. Okay, and then now let's what I'm gonna do. We can keep it the path. Let's say whatever the path. Let's remove that last one, and you need to keep it the. This is the present working directory. We are in the Madhu folder only. Okay, let's give the complete path. I'm giving the complete path here. Okay, I'm giving the complete path because I am inside already Madhu data. Okay, if you want to come outside, then do the $pwd. The $pwd means that will be work here. Okay, like as I mean, this is the path will become wherever we are standing. Or else even now also we can give the like $pwd instead of this place. Okay, that also will work. Let's test this. Now, yeah, sorry guys. What I did last time, I created the outside of the my data C data folder. I think so, right? I create this file outside of the C my data. Okay, I understand now. I understand now. The problem here is basically what I did. I created a test file outside of this see my data folder. That's what I told now. What are the data in outside of this folder you created? The data won't be backed up. Yes or no? Clear, right? Now this is the what I talked about previously. Why it's not creating? You guys are clear now because we are in root path only. We are not inside this folder. We are not inside this folder to create this test file. Guys, clear now? What happened here? Anyone? Any confusion here? Now, earlier what I did, I created this test file outside of this folder, guys. That's the reason that data is not backed up. That just I told now what are the folder you mentioned the volumes that data only will be persistent. If outside of that data that folder what are the data you stored, that data won't be persistent. That is the reason we just did. Okay, let's create a go for the C Madhu data folder and let's create a one file. Now we are not created earlier like this. Okay, now I'm creating now test.txt. Now let's do one thing. Let's create a file. This file is created inside the container. Inside the container, this file is created. The next what we do, let's come out from this. Let's exit from here. Let's exit from here and see that. Now let's go for one step back here. Now see here, this Madhu folder. Okay, and then inside the Madhu folder, see the file will be get the data here itself. There is no need to go for inside the your varlib docker path. The data will be stored into your path. Means simply we need to put the slash in front of the folder. That means that is the bind mount. Like as I mean, when you do the here, right? When you run this volume, if you mention the any slash here, that will be stored in like that we are calling as a bind mount. If you slash any slash under the absolute path, if you mention, that will be stored in your bind mount. Is it clear, guys? Clear now? Clear? Simple. Let's do one thing. Let's do this. What happened, guys? Clear or not? Fast. Let me try the previous command again. Let's see it works or not. The folder will create it or not. Let me try. Here, let's create a Madhu data 2. Okay, let's create a Madhu data 2. Let's run the new container. One more container I'm running, one more volume I'm creating. Okay, now let's see. Go to CD, see my data folder. Inside the folder, you need to go and then write some data inside the folder. Okay, let's say okay, just I'm giving the some data. Okay, just good.txt, some file I created. VI node VI, it should be echo. Okay, now see here, this file is created for us. Now what I'm going to do, let's exit from this container. Now see here, Docker lsfl there in this path. Now here, if the folder is not there, even that also not created, guys. Even inside that data also, if the folder is not there inside the present working directory, now let's do one thing. Here, if do lsfl, what happened? It will throw the error showing, man. Where is that then? The data there here. You guys have seen that path here. Means I mentioned the present directory or what wrong path. Okay, do one thing. Let's do one thing, guys. Just one more small test here. Basically, present working directory mentioning, I think so. This is the wrong way to mention. That will be treated as this here $pwd. Let's try with this 3 container, and then just create a, this is the 5th container, and then let's say c underscore Madhu data, create a sample file, one file again, echo data test.txt. Let's create this and let's exit from here this container and see that here. But volumes are created here, but the file is not showing. This is storing like actually, but that is not appearing here. Docker, do one thing. Docker volume ls. Even this also here also not storing here. Docker volumes. CD. Let's do first which is the root user. And CD where lib. Let's check here. Docker volumes my data. Now this is the only one volume you created, but this is the way you created the present working directory. It's not showing, and if the folder is already there, that will be showing in this current path. Okay, let's exit from here. But the data is created $pwd something here, but that is not appearing basically. That I can't see that in this folder current path. Okay, let's 1 second. Just a second. Okay, they use the dollar and braces. Let me try this method while running container. They use to dollar braces into PWD, but even that is not appearing, guys. Okay, let's see this method. 4 this container to 6 container. Now even we can mention PWD. PWD if you not mention, you should create a one folder. Okay, that like that we have done previously, right? Madhu data folder. Create and attach to the here, and then echo. Just mention the some data test something, move to this data to test dot data test dot txt something. Create the file. That file is created here. Exit from here and do here. Now it's showing this. The PWD you need to mention this method. Okay, not dollar and then here like this PWD. That works. Our dollar dot brace is not like that. And if you want to appear this is a method we need to use basically. That is a method. Is it clear? No, even the folder is not there, it will create for us. That's what it should be created still. That is what my intention to show that it is create. If the folder is not there, it will create a folder for us. Then you don't need to mention the absolute path here. Now what does mean here? It is just show for where we are in that. Wherever we are in that, the present working directory. Where our present working directory home slash EC2 user. That instead of full path, we can mention the even real time people are using this command. Okay. Then that time you guys will be confused. Like what is a PWD means? Wherever you ran the container, that like as some path you are standing, that path you are on, this means that path will be stored this data. Understand, right, what I mean, guys? That is not, it's not stored inside the Madhu data, it will store in the new, again this Madhu data 4. Now what are the volumes we mentioned, that will be stored here. Okay, Madhu data 4, it's not be stored in the Madhu data. Is it clear, guys? Clear or not? Any confusion?
Madhu, instead of that PWD, I mean the variable, we can give the full path, right?
That's what I did now first.
But
That's what I did.
even at that time, we didn't get the folder.
No, that folder basically. Okay, let's run another container. Slash is slash home slash ec2 hyphen user. Is it fine now? Now I'm going to create a file here. Is it clear? This is the new one, okay? And this is the new container. This is the new container. Let me run. The container name already persisted, okay? And then go for see my data folder, and then here just do for echo, then write some data, sample data into test dot txt. Okay, like whatever. Now exit from here this container and see this. Now the folder is created for us. If you give absolute path, will be created. The absolute path, instead of absolute path, we can do the $pwd, like as in the
Okay,
present one
okay,
we
got
make.
it.
Now
Yeah,
that last time what happened? No, the pwd mentioning is wrong actually. The system is not understanding what the hell it is dollar. Okay, that's the reason it
okay,
will throw us. It is hiding that files actually. Okay,
okay,
let's do one thing. LSFIL. If files are there here, even that's not appearing here. Fine, that's fine. Understand, na? That is the way $pwd braces, not flower braces. That normal braces need to be open. Okay, that is where we can store the data. Is it clear, guys? Clear now? What is the bind mount and normal mount? If you use the bind mount absolute path, you can see in your file system. If you are not using a bind mount, what is the bind mount means? Whenever the data will be stored here, slash, that we are calling as a bind mount. Now let me show that what exactly means. Bind mounts. Okay, now somewhere they mentioned bind mount syntax in the column before the volumes or volume. Bind mount. Somewhere we can read that. Start a container. Now you can start this. Now available the container slash app. Not, you need to mention the slashes. Then only we can see that, yeah, that is the bind mount actually. The slashes, if you put this, consider where we can data store, that is the bind mount source code, that is the artifact source slash target. If you want to artifacts available container, then app data. That's now this is the what actually I thought here. If you put the slashes only, that will be appear, or else it will be treated as a normal volumes. Understand, no? If you declare a normal, let's do one thing. Let's don't give any volumes here. Let's see what happens. Don't measure any path here. Don't mention anything. Don't slashes anything. Just do the normal name here. Let's see if the volumes are created or not. I'm testing this one testing. Okay. Container name is already there. Let's see. And see. CD. I just declare without any slashes here. If you not slashes, that definitely sure it won't store in your file system. Means it will be stored in the maybe container data only, but it will create or not. Let's see that what happens. Earlier we create what to do, Docker volumes and then create and then a name, right? Volume path like as my data. No, I didn't do that. I just directly use this, just name. Okay. See data and then go this path and echo, then test. Just do the test. Some file, okay, that's fine. Then exit from this container. Okay, that clear it up and do this here. This my data, whatever we are ran here, what is my data 6.1? It is not appearing here. Now do Docker volumes ls volume ls. Now that will be come here. Even though if you're not Docker volume create command, if you're not using it, just mention that data will be stored here. If you mention If you mention the slash and absolute path here before this, even though you can try this method, 7. Before the 7 is not available here. Okay, like 7 means what? Here till 4, 5 only there, right? 6 inside the like as normal folder. I mean Docker volume area. And now let me try with this. Okay, now this is the invalid character. It means understand now, this is invalid character. Now what you guys will do, just you can use the PWD or else you can use the obsolete path that we already tested. PWD or obsolete path. Now that works. Now okay. Some data to C data to test dot data. So now exit from here and then see here LSFL here, the folder will be created for us. Clear na guys? All the ways like as you know, different method we are done. Now if you this is a bind mount, absolute path or PWD both are same. Okay. Now if you're not using anything, it will create. Or else if you want to create first volume, then we want to do, then you can do the Docker volume create and then folder name. That your wish. All methods. How many ways you can create a volumes? Now let me write it here. Now you can use the Docker volume create and then volume name. Now this also will create. Even if you don't want to create and just directly run this Docker run, and then hyphen like whatever it may be, and then hyphen v, and volume name, and then colon. This is container volume. Okay, container volume, and this is the container name. Is it clear now? Is it clear now, guys? Clear now? Now this will be stored into the what? Even this normal one. If you want to bind mount, how to do? Like we can do this method. Okay, Docker run. That should be a path here, like as you know, what are the home and then easy to use it. And this is the absolute path. If the slash will come, like as you know, before the slash, that slash means that will be an absolute path inside your here. If there is no slash anything, they just volume name, that will be a like as you know, volume folder. Okay, volume folder and then folder and then volume. And even in the inside the volume folder also no need to require the same path here. Okay, like as you know, you can maybe it has the different path also. Any path also. Okay, not in the same root path. You can do wherever you want. Understand now? Clear, guys? All the scenarios. Okay. Instead of this, what we did, we are done the instead of home EC2 user, and we are done for what PWD. Instead of this, if you want to current path, you want wherever the path. Now you can do with the PWD. Clear, guys? Clear. Yeah, this is all the method we can do. Okay. Then there is a one more thing. For example, let's say there is okay, we already seen that two method. Okay, the container written data, the same volume we can attach the new container will get the data. That is clear, right? That is clear, right? Now this is done, and this is inspect my data. Even you can do what are the inspect command to check that what is the data will be stored. Okay, and path and all where this path it is. Okay, this is the path. Volume inspect data where this volume mount file, then you can see that here. Okay, and the next we are done that, and then creating a volume that persistent when the container removed, that we are done. And the next, creating a volume for existing directory with the data that we already done, and the sharing the data between the multiple containers. Now basically let's run this here, docker ps. Now let's do one thing. What I done, okay, I'm not sure what the container I used here. Okay, now let's see here. Anyways, let's see what is the container name we given here. Container name is the my ubuntu one, right? My ubuntu one container is running here. What are the volume we can, again you guys can just let's do one thing. Docker ps ps-a ps-a. Now let me remove this docker. Okay, now even -f not required. Okay, just use this. Even you can use the arc command to get the like as IDs, you know. Fine, that's running container. That's the reason it will be forcibly need to be clear. Even if you want, you can remove that. Let's keep it that. Now what I'm going to do, let's create a one volume here. I'm creating a one new eight. Okay, it won't work. The error will come. I'm going to, let's say 8 here, and you know, container name is 8. Both I mentioned the name 8. Okay. Now let's say go to the cdc underscore data my data. Okay, now let's see, create a some file here, echo test data.txt, some data we are returning here. Now here, see here, the file is storing this data. Now control pq, press control pq, that should be running. Control pq. Now the container is running now here. The container ubuntu 8 container is running here, and if we see here, the volume 8 volume is created. Now open this Madhu folder. Madhu data 8 cd Madhu 8 folder. How many folders are created here, guys? How many files are created here? Only data, right? Data file, this one file are stored into the Madhu 8 volume. Now instead of declaring -b every time here, there is a option in the volume. We can use the container shared volume in the multiple containers. Shared volume into the multiple containers. How to do that? That's what I'm trying to show that. Now you can use the volume from option. Now you can, this is the one. Okay, let's say we can use the volume from, or else you can use this. Now container name. Now here what I do here, now let's say whatever, let's say not this, not this. Now let's say here, what is the container we are in here? Let's see here, like docker ps. What is the docker 8, right? 8 container, right? What I'm going to do, let's create one more container. Here I'm going to create a new container, that is a 9 container. Okay, sorry, 8 container. Volume from is the 8, from where I need to be get from the acquiring. From here to this is a new container. New container is a 9 container. Now that means you don't need to mention -b here. Now this will also use the previous container volume. The previous container volume it will be used. Means this path you don't need to mention in this container. Just mention the name volume from this container. That option also we have, but no, we never be used. But in case somewhere you see that, that means there is another container running. That container volumes is used by the another new container. This is a container name. Means you don't need to mention this data. this command -v my data, whatever we mentioned previously while running this one. You need to mention this. Now let's see that. Are you sure? Okay. Spell mistake maybe. What is the name? My Ubuntu, right? Sorry. What is that? Ubuntu, my Ubuntu 8. Container name is the my Ubuntu 8. Now this container name is the container 9 I run. Okay. This is my not even my Ubuntu 9. The name is container 9. Now see here, LSFLTR. This C mother data came here because we mentioned the here volume is the C mother data that will be created inside the new container also. If you're not declare also, see goes inside the C mother data. Guess it guys. How many files will be stored here? What are the file will be available here? What is the files are there here? If I open this path,
data.txt.
right now, the what are the volume we created that. Now let's see here lsfldr. Now data.txt file will be stored. Whatever we had in the like as this volume first container, like as you know, there is a two containers here. Let's come out from this control PQ. I am inside the container. Now do the docker ps. Now if you see, let's remove this container. And this container, what is the container? This is the unwanted container. We don't want. Now from this container, I mount with this container. Like as even two containers also will be shared the volumes. Even see if 9 container written data, 8 containers will appear, and then your system also will appear. If system will return the data, that also will appear in the 8 container also, 9 container also. Understand what I mean? Even sir, instead of this, I can use the -v option in the two places, two paths same, right? Yes, you can. That also same equal to the using the -f volume from. What I mean? Now, if you run this container, now here, if you mention this container equal to, for example, let's say 10 also, let's for example, this also same. This also will store the this data. This container, this another like as you know, 8 container also using the same data, 9 container also using the same data, 10 container also using the same volume. Even it will be stored the data, it will also store here. Even 8 container also stored there, this also will be stored here. Even this data will be stored here, this folder, this data will appear in the 8 container also, 9 container also. Understand now guys what I mean? Now multiple containers using the same folder means same data, whatever the data is appear here, the same data is appear in the all the containers because of it's a volume. Is it clear now guys? This is high level, but you know, in case if somewhere in real time you guys, I never used, but in case if somewhere you see, then you know you can understand this volume from means now that volume is some container is storing, that we are using the same instead of designing. Then you need to check the path where the that container name they mentioned, that container you need to go and then check that what is the -v option they used. Okay, clear guys? Understand now what I mean? Okay, that should be careful. And then tomorrow what we do, let's discuss about the real time tomorrow. And even if someone will ask that, okay, how do you like mention the you know volume size and all, you can mention the like here -o size equal to some that volume size also, if so in cases are they asked. Okay, and even if you someone will ask that how do you mention for in your volume in the different like as some other like you know any drives or any EBS volume and all, we can use for the driver. There is a drivers option. Like there is a EBS driver also there. There is different drivers are available. Using drivers, we can create that like as you know external volumes folders, external volumes folder. But I never be used. But in case interviewer will ask this kind of questions, Okay, but they may also use not used. Okay, but still they ask because they want to test. Okay, Docker drive. I will never be asked this kind of questions in interview. Okay, because people I don't want to confuse the people. Docker drivers. Okay, Docker EBS driver. Even this is this. Okay, I can refer this. Now these containers are storing in the volumes as a EBS. This is you guys are won't understand now. I'll discuss for the Docker compose. This is a Docker compose definitions. Okay, we'll talk about this later. Right. There is a different drivers are available, and then there is a what is the difference between the mount and volume? Okay, basically there is a two options for us, mount and volume. Now it's a recent version, even we can use the mount also. The previously these mount are used in the Docker Swarm. Docker Swarm is the like container orchestration tool, like same like as the Kubernetes. That will be used. Now nowadays what happened? Even Docker also using the same. Yeah, mount also will work between the -v and then -f mount. Even you guys can be refer this. If someone will ask the question, you guys can say this. See, -v always will be directory, and it's a mount is a bind mount by directory. It does not exist the Docker host. The Docker does not automatically create the mount can't be create a folder. Volume can be create a folder. That is a like we don't have a folder, right? But still it will create a volume. But mount can't be do that. Remember that point, okay? What I mean now, if the folder does not exist, our volume will be create this folder, right? But mount can't be create this. Fine. Clear, guys? Okay. Cool, guys. Then see you on the tomorrow real time for setting a Docker this Docker private repository. We'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. Install Jenkins with the Docker. That is our just installation only. Okay, and the next and then Docker private repository. Private repo. We'll discuss tomorrow session. Don't miss tomorrow session. Okay. Fine, guys. Then see you then tomorrow.